So now we have a short 7-minute pause before we go to the next race, and that is going to be for the X30 Seniors qualifying heat C and E, and that will be Rens van Pelt against Mark Kimber on the front row of the grid. Now, this will be an interesting one because we've got Rens van Pelt, the Belgian, and Mark Kimber, the Brit, on the front row of the grid, as we said, but then we also have it on the second row of Levi Lutucanto and Louis Westover on the second row of the grid. Both of these guys have spent most of the day on the even side of the grid, so Group C will now find themselves quite firmly on the inside line, the odd side of the grid, as it were. So it could be very interesting to see how these guys go in the X30 Seniors. And Rens van Pelt versus Mark Kimber should be a strong one to the victory. And Levi Lutucanto on the inside line from Louis Westover. Then Hans Morin, the Swede, will be up alongside Enrique Bodas-Cortés, who's been very strong in qualifying, but in the races, it all seems to have gone to pieces for the Spaniard. Then we have on the fourth row of the grid, Sam White. Alongside him is Jorge Pescador of the Praga España team. And then we have Juan Carlos Hernandez Ruiz and Henry Laws for the KR Sport Brigade. So we will see how that all goes. And Henry Laws hoping for another good race this time after his encounter in the top 5 earlier. Now, on the sixth row of the grid is going to be the Irishman Ross Hayes alongside the Spaniard Carlos Martinez Escurilla. Then we have Saul Robinson of Great Britain. We have Daniel Mathia of Spain alongside Christopher Charny of France. Then we have Saul Robinson of Great Britain alongside William Godefroid of Belgium. Then it should be Philip Rawson, the Brit, alongside the Frenchman Hugo Var. Evan Becerra of Belgium will start alongside the Spaniard Oscar Palomo. And then we have Camille Donic of Poland alongside the Frenchman Enzo Giraud. Joey van Splatoren, the Dutchman, will line up beside Jensen Brown of Great Britain on the 12th row. Then we'll have Jack Aleph and Isaac Valtonen on the 13th row of the grid with Axel Bengtsson and Masatoro Wada. Dionysius Leveris and Rivaldo van der Westerlaken on the 15th row of the grid to round up the top 30. And then the last 4 will be Manuel Golofre, Boris Young, Stuart Middleton and Simon Henrard for the 34-kart grid as these guys get ready for the off for the last time today. And for some of these guys, it will be the last time this weekend, but they have to bear that in mind as they go to battle. It will be an interesting one, and it will be very intense indeed for these guys as they battle away for the IAME Winter Cup of Valencia in 2018, the precursor to the IAME European Series, a fantastic contest that takes us to 4 different race meetings over the course of the next 6 months. Next month at Sulbury in France, we will kick off with a 2-month gap before the second round at Marienborg in Belgium. Then 2 more months of a gap before we head to the next round of the championship, which is at Wackersdorf in Germany, and then the final round of the championship, which is at the magnificent Siete Larghi circuit at Castelletto in Italy. But here at Valencia, it looks as though the rain has finally ceased to be, and we are going to get sunshine for the last 2 races. We're going to get a gorgeous Spanish sunset over the course of the circuit. The whistle blows to get the mechanics to clear the grid. And now, look at that beautiful backdrop, the Spanish sunset over the hills here in Chiva, just outside the city of Valencia. It is a wonderful, wonderful scenery and a beautiful backdrop to the last 2 races of the day, which for these sets of drivers could be their last, and they're very well aware of what it could mean for the rest of their weekend. It could mean they're getting an early plane home, or they're just going to be spectators for the day, or possibly, if they can't even bear to do that, they could get in some sightseeing in the nearby city of Valencia. We're not too far away from the Circuito Ricardo Tormo, of course, which is where the drivers and the motorcycle racers compete in the world of TCR and MotoGP and all the rest of it. And of course, we're not too far away from the site of the Grand Prix circuit that used to be run on the streets of Valencia in Formula 1 from 2008 until 2012. Although somebody very nerdy is probably going to correct me and say it was 2013, the last one. But I think the last one was 2012. Anyway, we will continue, and we will have an amazing battle, no doubt, for the X30 seniors on the Qualifying heat C and E for Rens van Pelt and Mark Kimber on the front row of the grid. Levi Lintecanto and Louis Westover on the second row. Hans Morin and Enric Boris Cortes. Sam White and Jorge Pescador. Juan Carlos Hernandez Ruiz and Henry Laws in the top 10. Then it's Hayes, Martinez Escurria, Mathia, Shani, Robinson, Godefroid, Rawson, Vaya, Becerra, Palomo, Donic, Giraud, Von Splonteron, Brown, Alif, Valtonen, Bengtson, Wada, Liveris, Van der Westerlaken, Galofre, Jung, Middleton and Henrard. A tough day at the office for several drivers down in the bottom end of that grid. Several of them will feel that they should be a little bit further forward. And for them, this is their last chance. It's time to get going or go ugly early. So we'll see how the drivers go. And hopefully it is going to be a strong one right from the start. Rens van Pelt of Belgium on pole position will be the one who dictates the pace on the formation lap. Mark Kimber alongside him has already been a race winner in this class. Don't forget, we have had 8 races, I should say, coming into this one, and we've had various different winners. We've had 2 wins apiece for Joe Turney and Dean McDonald. We've had some pretty exciting ones from various drivers over the course of the day. We've had wins from Sam McDonnell. We've also had victories from... apologies, I was just picking up a piece of paper at the wrong moment there and my mind started to wander. We have had victories too from other drivers, including from Clayton Ravenscroft, who has been right up at the front end of the grid as well. We've had all sorts of shenanigans in the X30 seniors over the course of the day. So no doubt there is more to come, and there is still going to be some exciting battles ahead of us. Here we go. 2 races to go. And for this one in particular, for a lot of the X30 seniors, it could well be the day, it could well be the moment that they say goodbye, adios, and see you next year. So the drivers getting up to speed and getting a lot of good laps in. Rens van Pelt and Mark Kimber on the front of the grid. And it'll be interesting to see the Van Pelt-Kimber battle to the first corner. Who's that leaving for the grid very late? That is the 271 who gets going quite late. Now that is Saul Robinson, who will start on the 8th row of the grid, provided he can catch up to the rest of the field and get back into his grid position before the red line. Now, it's a bit awkward for him being in that particular position to do it because, of course, they're all still running at a fairly fast pace. So Saul Robinson has got to hope that he can catch up with the drivers in that position and then get himself into his position before the red line. It could be quite tricky, but he's close enough to the back of the field that I think he will be okay. But it's not the best way to start your weekend. Certainly not the best way to start your heat, because obviously you're then on the back foot and you're sweating a little bit more than you should be. So here come the drivers around that long sweeping first corner at the end of their formation lap. They will now form up on the back straight and get this race underway. I'm really looking forward to these last 2 races. For a few of the drivers, it is literally their last chance saloon. So they will be giving it absolutely everything. Full of gusto, these last 2 races for the X30 seniors, as they try to get themselves into a position that can win them a race in tomorrow's competition and certainly give them a chance to go for the ultimate prize, the IAME Senior X30 Winter Cup. This is quickly turning into one of the most popular one-weekend meetings in Europe. Last year, when we started this was only the second time we've run this, don't forget. Last year, 58 drivers showed up. This year, 157 were registered. That's an absolutely incredible increase in interest and popularity in such a fantastic event. Considering it's the first time of asking, that's not bad. Now, I have a feeling that Saul Robinson, very sadly, is going to have to start the race from the back of the grid. He's going to be on full throttle by the time they come through. He's not going to be able to get back into his position past the red line, so he will just be full on the throttle as he comes through. He'll have to ease off a tiny bit, but he has to start right from the back, get himself into position, and away he goes. And what a good start from the front of the field from Rens van Pelt. Mark Kimber has had to slot in about 4th position, but that's okay. He hasn't lost as much ground as he could have done. So Rens van Pelt leads the way. No major problems there. Second place at the moment, that looks to be the man who started just in behind him. That is Levi Lintecanto. So with Levi Lintecanto right in there as well, trying to move his way forward in the 264. Hans Morin has come up as well. The rest of the field just about gets themselves sorted. No major difficulties. A couple of curb hoppers But other than that, it's all fine and dandy, and Mark Kimber has already got himself into third position. Good fight back from Mark Kimber. This could be a good opportunity to go after his main rival in this race, Rens van Pelt, the man who started alongside him on the front row. But Belgium's Rens van Pelt is leading the way in the early stages from Finland's Levi Luntakanto and Britain's Mark Kimber. Here we go, out of the final chicane and back down the straight once again. Van Pelt, Luntakanto, Kimber, and in fourth place it is Hans Morin. Then it's Westover, Hernandez Ruiz, Pescador, White, Hayes and Boris Cotes. A great shuffle of positions down into the first corner. Oh, and there's contact, and we got a spin in the mid-pack. 2 or 3 carts come together there, and there's going to be some damage as a result of that one. Now we've got 2 or 3 carts in the walls at turn 1. Now I'm not entirely sure who that is that's gone at that first corner. From my position here, I can't see who it was, but that is going to be a, well, certainly the driver is out of the race, but I don't know, are we going to get a yellow flag zone here? Or is it going to be passed without too much incident? I think we're going to get away with that one. But Rens van Pelt is leading the way. Is that Mark Kimber in second now? I think it is. I think that's Mark Kimber having got past Levi Luntakanto. So Rens van Pelt is your race leader. And yes, it is Kimber in second. Mark Kimber in second place. So Kimber is charging hard. We have got through without a yellow flag incident even. As Luntakanto is about to be overtaken into the first corner. I think that's a bit of a bold move. And 2 of them have got through in one go. So Kimber is through in a second place. That is Luntakanto back into third position, I should say. So Luntakanto has got past Hans Morin, and so too has Jorge Pescador. So Hans Morin down into 5th position. Make that 6th position, because back on the inside comes Sam White. And Sam White now moves up into P5, chasing down Jorge Pescador. So this is a difficult one for Hans Morin, who is now going backwards. But at the moment, it is Rens van Pelt versus Mark Kimber, with Levi Luntakanto in 3rd position ahead of Jorge Pescador and Sam White, having just got past the man who was in 3rd just a short while ago, Hans Morin. And look at how quickly Mark Kimber is closing up on Rens van Pelt. He's definitely got pure pace on the Belgian this time. Across the line, 3 laps gone and 7 to go. And Kimber's going for the lead straight away. Thank you very much. He gets past Rens van Pelt. No difficulties there. And considering the kind of pace he's showing at the moment, Mark Kimber, I would not be surprised if he starts to pull away from Rens van Pelt and disappears into the distance. It's still a little bit shaky in the midfield. Still a lot of jostling for position and duking for places as they continue to duel. Up on the inside, some good overtakes, but it's all gone wrong for one of the Praga carts in the middle of the pack there. I think that was Carlos Martinez Escria who went a little bit sideways, and that's really compromised him. So a few places lost there, I believe. Still a lot of drivers in the mix there as they all continue to battle away for position. But how about this at the front? Rens van Pelt giving a bit of pressure to Mark Kimber. Kimber is trying to stretch out an advantage, but the 2 of them go through nose to tail. 3rd place is Levi Luntakanto, who's trying desperately to drop Jorge Pescador. 5th place is the 224 of Sam White. Sam White's got a good run, and here comes Louis Westover trying to make the move into 6th position. So Louis Westover trying to get past Hans Morin, with Enric Boris Cotes in there in 8th place as well. Philip Rawson is 9th. Daniel Mathia is 10th. From Shani, Hayes, Van Splunteren, Palomo and Bachera. Still great racing all over the circuit. The one who's got left behind at the back of the field, there is just one on their own, and that is the 237 of Rivaldo van der Westerlaken. So we've lost a few. We've lost Carlos Martinez Escurier. We've lost one Carlos Hernandez Ruiz. We've lost Henry Laws. And we had no start for Saul Robertson and Hugo Vire. So problems there for those 2 as they both ended up in it. Now that is 2 cars that have come together at the final chicane, and I have a feeling that is the battle that we saw earlier on. I think that is Carlos Martinez Escria and Juan Carlos Hernandez Ruiz, that both of them are out of the race as the marshals are trying to clear the chicane pretty quickly. But it's still Kimber from Rens van Pelt. And then we have Jorge Pescador has moved up into 3rd position. So Pescador is now 3rd ahead of Sam White and Levi Luntakanto. 6th place, that looks to me like the 238 of Enric Boris Cotes. Then it is Louis Westover from Hans Morin. So great battles all the way through, but unfortunately it is game over for a few more competitors. So now we only have 29 of the competitors still running, the last of those being Rivaldo van der Westerlaken. But it's Kimber and Van Pelt who are in the lead of the race at the moment. Mark Kimber in front of Rens van Pelt. 3rd place is Jorge Pescador in front of Sam White now, who has got past Levi Luntakanto and has started to stretch away. So it's two pairs at the front of the field. Kimber and Van Pelt, Pescador and White. So Mark Kimber is definitely doing what he needs to do to continue his winning route and go for his second heat victory. Rens Van Pelt's got a problem! Rens Van Pelt's got a problem! He's slowing down on the main straight! Rens Van Pelt is out! Oh no! Rens Van Pelt is out of the race. That is a disaster from second position. Mechanical problems for Rens Van Pelt. And the Belgian from pole position is finished for the day. Oh, he will be so disappointed. But that is an open door of opportunity for Mark Kimber to disappear into the distance and win this race at a canter. But for Rens Van Pelt, it's game over. What a shame. Oh, disaster. So the Belgian is done and dusted, and that means that the battle for second place is now between Jorge Pescador and Sam White. So Pescador is now second, White is third, fourth position is Lintucanto in front of Enrique Bordes-Cotes, who is leading the charge for fifth position in front of Louis Westover, Hans Morin and Daniel Mathia. Westover trying to make the move on the 219 of Hans Morin. He's going to dive on the inside. Westover makes the move. Morin tries to hold him off bay, and he shuts the door very firmly indeed as Hans Morin. He's not going to let Westover get through. Westover just needing a little bit more confidence on the inside line, and I think he'd be all right to shut that door on Hans Morin. But Morin is not going to let him get away with that one. Mark Kimber leads. Pescador second and White in third. But nobody is feeling more sick to their stomach than Rens Van Pelt, the Belgian. Genuinely had a shot of victory in this one, and it's an absolute disaster from his point of view that he will not get a chance to do so. You have to feel for him. He had a really good run. But we are on lap 8 out of 10, and that means that Mark Kimber is on his own in the lead and looking like he's got it all sewn up. Just a few seconds, well, 1.3 to be precise, ahead of Jorge Pescador and Sam White, who will battle for second position with 2 laps to go. For Sam White, it's make or break time, and he knows it on the back of Jorge Pescador. So another couple of overtaking moves just behind these guys in the lower regions of the top 10. They are still battling away with Levi Ludicanto in the lead of the battle in fourth place. He's being caught, though, by Eric Bordes-Cotes, who's finally getting a decent top 5 finish. Then the battle for sixth position is very intense, led by Hans Morin from Daniel Mathia, Louis Westover. Then it is Ross Hayes trying to fend off Philip Rawson. Shani, Palomo, and Joey Van Splunteren are all in that battle as well. So it could all end up getting very tasty. In fact, it's already got tasty for sixth position as up the inside. That's one of the Prague Spaniard carts trying to come through. Daniel Mathia up on the curbs comes Philip Rawson trying to get through as well. Oh, very spicy indeed for sixth place. That could go anybody's way. Meanwhile, though, Jorge Pescador is trying to drop Sam White. And with 1 lap to go, Mark Kimber just needs to keep pushing. Pescador's got a good gap to Sam White, and he knows it. And it's defensive time in the battle for fourth position as Levi Lintucanto tries to keep Enrique Bordes-Cotes at bay. So Lintucanto trying to hold on to fourth position. For sixth place, it's anybody's guess. There's about 8 of them all going for position, and Rawson is the one that gets spat out in the middle. Oh, Philip Rawson drops to the back of the queue very nearly. They're still running away for position. They're still battling it out. But it's still getting incredibly tight as Enrique Bordes-Cotes is now trying to get one over on Levi Lintucanto, the Finn, as they battle for fourth position. The leading 3 are all still together. Pescador and White have got a bit closer to Mark Kimber than I think he wanted them to get. But I think it will be Mark Kimber for the victory. He's done it once already today. Mark Kimber's going to do it again if he just holds it on through the final 2 right-hander flicks and into the last 3 corners. Right, left, right. Thanks for the memory. It's been a good Saturday for Mark Kimber. Kimber wins it from Jorge Pescador and Sam White. Fourth position goes to Enrique Bordes-Cotes in front of Levi Lintucanto. And sixth place for Daniel Mathia. Mathia in sixth place in front of Hans Morin. Louis Westover, Chris Shani, and Oscar Palomo gets into 10th position. Ross Hayes is 11th from Joey Van Splunteren. Camille Donic, Philip Rawson, Enzo Giraud, Manel Galofre, and Evan Benchera in front of Jensen Brown in 18th place. Boris Young and Jack Aliff rounds out the top 20 from Isaac Valtonen, Axel Bengtson, DJ Liveris, Simon Henrad, William Godefroid, Stuart Middleton in 26th from Masatora Wada in 27th, and Rivaldo van der Westerlaken in 28th position. The drivers who retired dramatically, Rens Van Pelt, while battling for the victory, a crushing blow for the Belgian, who started on pole position. Carlos Martes Escria, Juan Carlos Hernandez Ruiz, the 2 of those drivers colliding at the final chicane. Henry Laws had all sorts of difficulties, and his race was run too. Saul Robinson out of the race, and so too the Frenchman Hugo Valle. Neither of the first two completing the first lap. Well, what a race, and still incredibly exciting stuff as we come right to the death of the day. And with one race still to go here, it is going to be an interesting finish for those last few drivers to get one more race in the bag.